So yeah, like I was saying, in life, sometimes you just have to, in order to overcome, you have to adapt and, you know, like rethink your strategy in regards to whatever it is that you want to do or pursue. Sometimes the first thing that you do might not work. Sometimes, you know, even the second, sometimes, you know, sometimes people pursue their dream endlessly for years and years and years until it finally pays off. Not everyone has overnight success. The people that have like overnight success is a very, very low percentage in terms of like the percentage of the people out there who are successful. A large majority of people who are successful today, who are people, you know, who are, you know, people that have gained financial freedom, let's say, because they've been very successful, are people who have had to work very hard to achieve what they wanted to. They've put in the hours, you know what I mean? They put in the 10,000, you know, that rule of that whole thing of putting into 10,000 hours into anything you want to be great at. So...
Not necessarily though.
No, but
you know,
I mean...
I'd say some people are actually born golden spoons or silver spoons or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean,
you know, so
but that
people,
I'm talking about in terms of people like people who have made it been successful through like coming from the ground up kind of thing, you know. The large majority of people within that percentage are people who have come from nothing, if you see what I mean. The percentage of people who have been like born with wealth or have just had, you know, been very, very lucky and had overnight success and instantly like stardom went up, you know, went through the roof, whatever, and you know straight away was making loads of money and getting loads of fame and etc.
Even again, sometimes being famous is not being successful.
No. But what I was saying in terms of like financial freedom, you know, the financial aspect, you know.
Yeah. But you know, personally, I wouldn't. Personally, I wouldn't want to be famous.
Not to that point.
You know, where, you know, I'm being followed, I suppose, you know.
Can you imagine for some people, mate, for some people that have been, we don't want to divert too much of freedom, but just talking about the whole fame thing, there's been so many people that have got to that level of stardom that they can't go anywhere. If you see what I mean?
Well,
they can't go out to a restaurant and eat a meal in peace. They can't go shopping with their family in peace. They can't take their missus out in peace. Can't take their kids out.
Like Lady Diana, wasn't it? She could do nothing. The cameras followed her absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, the more famous you are, the more they're going to follow you around.
More attention.
You know, it's like Marilyn Monroe. Right, back then, cameras followed her everywhere. Right, and it depressed her at the end, you know.
Yeah.
I know it did, because I know a lot about Marilyn Monroe, you know. And she did quite a lot of interesting quotes as well about life and philosophy.
Yeah.
You know, very interesting quotes she wrote.
Yeah.
You know, and I think she had a very difficult life again, Marilyn Monroe, you know. I don't think she was as free as she wanted to be.
Yeah.
You know, in life, you know.
Well, I won't go too much into it anyway, going back to freedom, going back to the whole thing of freedom. There's some celebrities out there, mate, who are controlled to obey.
Well, most of them
they have quote unquote what they call quote unquote handlers who supposedly help them run their daily lives, but we all know what that means, kind of thing. Keeps them in control and in check. Make sure they don't see it. Make sure they're media trained and don't say anything, you know, etc. incorrect or etc.
I don't think like being famous you are so free.
A lot of those people aren't.
I suppose you can get famous and be free. It depends how you play the cards.
That's it.
I think, you know.
It depends on how you play the game.
Yeah. I think, and again, you know, I think there's famous people out there that have kind of like kept their private life so well hidden.
Yeah.
That no one knows where they are.
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know, there's intelligent ways of doing it, isn't there?
Oh, most definitely there must be, because there's loads of people out there who are famous, but like the only time you'll see them is if they're in a film or they're going to like a premiere to like premiere the movie, which they're obligated to do because they're an actor in the film, kind of thing. But outside of that, you won't ever see them. You won't hear anything about them, or like you said, they're very kind of like low key. You know what I mean? You won't hear anything about them in the papers or their family, or you won't have paparazzi chasing them around trying to take photographs. You know, photographs all the time, and you know.
I think, like, for instance, going back to Lady Diana, I don't think she was free at all at the end of life. She just couldn't do anything, and you could sort of see it at the end of it that she was
I think she even did
lost and depressed.
I think she even said in an interview that she felt like it was an invasion of her privacy. She felt like she was constantly being bombarded. Constantly, But
I don't think she was I don't think when she first went into what she was doing, she didn't realise what she was letting herself in for in a kind of way.
Definitely, I think so too.
And she didn't realise how the public would sort of should be big to the public eye. She didn't know that before she married and all that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what is freedom? I think it's all down to the individual person's perspective.
Definitely.
Like I say, you could be very happy in life if you don't own anything. There are people that are successfully free of.
The less they have, the freer they feel.
Well, if you can live sort of like from the water and the mountains, you are free, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just like all the birds are in a kind of way, free from the city.
Yeah.
It's like if a butterfly comes here into the city, I think that butterfly's lost.
Yeah.
He's come out of nature and he's in the city,
Yeah.
And I don't think like anyone in a city really is that free either. Is they want to be,
Yeah.
If you want to be free, you've got to go to the mountains with the bears and the lions.
Yeah.
Got
to live off grid.
Yeah. Well.
Like really off grid.
Yeah, and fish for your own food.
But there's some people out there, mate, that are doing it currently. That have bought plots of land literally in the middle of nowhere, and built their own houses. Got their solar panels. Literally their own electricity, their own well for their water, their own garden, crops, livestock, etc. There are people out there that have.
Well, sometimes when I think when you got stocks of farms, you're not free.
No.
You've got to look after those stocks.
Well, it depends on how much money you got, because
you can get other people to look after it for you.
Some of these people can employ people.
That's the thing. You can get other people to sort your problems out. And some people are that rich that they just got hundreds of people working for them all
paid off.
They're all. And that guy's just sort of like going around where he wants to. Do you know what I mean?
What he wants. Yeah.
Financially free, wild in a kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not. To be free, I think in life, you have got to live in the jungle.
Yeah.
I think away from the. Away from the city in a kind of way,
Yeah.
From city life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Got to escape the quote-unquote matrix, like they say all the time, Because the reality is that we do live in a to me the Matrix was like a documentary, The films, was almost like a documentary because,
Well, we all live in a city. We all belong to cities, don't we?
Yeah. The only way to really truly escape is to be completely self-sufficient. Where even if the financial system crashed, you and your family still be alright. To me that would be real freedom, knowing that you've got.
It did crash, didn't it? And not, we did.
Well, not completely crashed. Though. I mean, like terms of money was to, something was to go wrong, and there was big problems and shit. But imagine you're living in the middle of nowhere. You got your house, you got your water, you got your own electricity, you got your food, everything you need. You don't want, you don't need anything.
I think if there was a electric power car in all the cities, everyone would be free.
Yeah.
In a funny way, it is.
That would kind of take us back almost to the stone ages kind of thing, where darkness all the time.
Well, I think going back in time again into history, I think people were freer 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. I think there were probably sort of wandering through forest and whatever, or crossing mountains, things like that, Where today we're kind of locked up in a funny way, you know, we're in like open prisons, aren't we, in a funny way, you know, like, and we've all got a number on there and a post box.
Yeah.
You know, sorry, not a post box, a letter box, sorry. You know, and it's kind of like we've got to go back to our home with our letter box with our number.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, anyone out there that, you know, can send you a letter or whatever, you know. And it's kind of like we're not as free as we used to be in a funny way, you know, I feel. But I feel that we're freer today in a funny way because we've got so many things. You know, like they didn't have Coca-Cola 200 years ago.
Well, they might have done, mate. I think it first came into existence in 18 something.
I'm talking about 2,000 years ago now.
Oh yeah.
The cavemen. Can you imagine a caveman opening one of these, finding one on the bits of sand?
A cold one. Yeah. It's very good.
There's a dinosaur there as well, yeah. That'd be a good ad for it.
That'd be a good ad, yeah.
Give me some money.
That's what I'm talking about. We will even film it and direct it, everything, you know. Yeah. But yeah, going back to freedom, like you said earlier, I completely agree. Like we said before, it's like most things, it's subjective, you know, it's opinion based, you know. We've all got our own definition, you know. I've got my definition of what, you know, my different thing, because it's not only one thing that makes up freedom in a person's perspective, if you see what I mean. And for me, there's many different aspects of freedom. And for me, I've got my own different aspects of what I believe freedom to be, you know, my opinions. My mate's got the same, he's got his own opinions. And everyone else out there has the same, you know. So I think it's just being able to agree to disagree sometimes when we do have conversations, but also being able to have those conversations, because I think it's so important that people share knowledge with each other, you know. Sometimes like you can share knowledge with someone and straight away like you can see like instantly you might have changed their perspective on something, you know, help them to grow as a human being in some way, shape or form. They might have come away from the conversation that you and them were having, or even you yourself might come away with more knowledge or more insight into like certain things, or, you know, whatever, you know. I think, you know, that's, you know, it's important to have these conversations, and important to understand that sometimes even by the ends of these conversations, that we might not always agree, or we might not always like the other person's opinion, or whatever the case may be, but that's okay, you know.
It's working to a better light and understanding, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll say something about freedom, which I think is quite interesting. When you're young, when you're first born, you're not really free. You've got some parents looking after you, are you? Don't you? Do you know what I mean? And they're keeping their eye on you every second in a kind of way, yeah?
Because you're completely dependent.
Well, and then as you grow up, and then when you do leave your parents, I mean, some children don't leave their parents at all, you know, whatever. But when you do finally grow up and become an adult, and you become independent, and you do things for yourself, that's freedom, isn't it? You know, when you can actually be independent and actually do everything for yourself, like cooking, like washing,
looking after yourself. You've got your own career. You're paying your own rent and all bills, and looking after yourself.
You know, and today, I'm twice your age now. You know? But I feel that I'm freer than I've ever been before in my life. You know, the older I get, the freer I feel in a funny way, you know. The more I understand life as well as I get older, you know, and I feel like every year that goes by, I kind of feel freer in life because I understand life a little bit more, you know. I'm never going to understand it fully.
Completely, no one will ever understand it completely. No.
But I think it's to, you know, I think one purpose of life really is to understand life. And
definitely.
I think once you kind of understand it, you can feel a lot freer in life, you know, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you know. I agree with that, mate, for sure. Yeah.
I just thought I'd bring up that point, you know. So 1-year-old, you're not free at all, and then 2-year-old, you're a little bit freer.
Yeah.
You know, escaping through little halls and things, you know.
Slowly become more and more independent, and that brings...
You're on your legs, all that free, you know, walking about, you know, escaping from your parents.
Yeah,
when they're free.
Brings more freedom
You know, by the time you're 16, you know, you want to leave and not want to know your parents, you know, anymore. That's what it's like anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Not all children. I think it all depends, really, sort of on the family itself.
Yeah.
You know, and on the parents, all right. If they've really had a close relationship with those two children, and done the right things to those two children, all right, I think those two children will grow up normal and have a more closer relationship in kind of way.
Yeah.
But if you're sort of growing up, drinking, things like that, you know, forgetting about your children or whatever, they just leave.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, that's how I think it works, not me. You know, they're free as well. You know, the children, aren't they? And they, you know, they're learning to be free, I think. And that's what life's all about, I think, is learning how to be free in life.
Yeah.
As you grow up.
How to be self-sufficient, again, going back to independent, you know, leaving when you get old enough to finally leave the family home, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And like you said, being able to be independent, you know, that brings a whole different element of freedom.
Yeah.
You know, you're now your own man or own woman, living on your own, let's say, per se, for the first time. You know, you've got more freedom. You can choose to do what you want.
You can have
in the confines of your home. You know, obviously within, you know, within reason, of course.
And you have, you know, as you do get old, you do realise what you like and what you don't like as well. You know, what foods you like and what you don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, you are free to have what you want, aren't you? You're free to have 10 Cokes if you want on one day. You know, you can chain smoke if you want all day. You know, and that's freedom for you as well. You know, freedom of choice.
Yeah, choice. That's it.
You know.
Yeah. Free will.
Yeah, free will, and I think you got to be really careful, haven't you, with the choices you make every moment in your life. You know, because if you do something silly, sometimes you'd have to pay for it. You know, in a big way in the future. You know.
Yeah.
So you know, I think it pays to be sensible in life. That's for sure.
Oh, definitely. Definitely pays to do as cliche as it sounds, it pays to do the right thing. You know? To try to make the right decisions in life, right choices, you know, to do the right thing.
With who you meet as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That's important. What's that? Ding!
Sorry,
Ding.
mate, it's my phone, it's my mobile. But yeah. You know.
I like that. Ping.
Yeah.
So I would have chosen a different sound, but...
Well, because iPhone is just a generic one, you know.
So you're free to choose which sounds you want?
I didn't even choose it, mate. It was just a generic iPhone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a nice ping. Yeah. Anyway, you know, I think we talked about it before. You're free to choose your friends and your relationships, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I've made a lot of mistakes in the past like that, you know.
Well, I think everyone's made mistakes in life when it comes to who they might have chosen to be friends at one point with, if you see what I mean, you know, or whatever the case may be. You know, we all make mistakes in life. You know, it's all a part of the learning process. You know, how we grow, how we evolve, how we change, and hopefully eventually become the best versions of ourselves, you know, because of the mistakes we've made and the lessons that we've learned along the way that have helped us to grow and help us to evolve, whether it be mentally, psychologically, emotionally, etc. You know, all about growth, you know.
I mean, you're free with the day as well, aren't you? You know, like when you wake up in the morning. I mean, it's like today, for instance. I could have gone out for the day to the beach. Yeah. But I decided to stay in and do lots of cleaning up, whatever. Yeah. You know, and then tomorrow I wake up and I might go out. Do you know what I mean? And be ahead. Yeah. You know, and you're free with your time. You know, like again, like time is very important. You know, what you're going to do with your time. Yeah. You know, that's what's. You know, because we're all free to do whatever we want with our time almost. You know, some people aren't because they've got to do their job. Yeah. You know, and you know, but they're still free to go and do that job in a funny way. You know, but they got to go and do that job, and they're not free in such a way where they can do a picture or something. You know, that's another thing. You know, when you're drawing, that's another time when you're free.
Yeah.
You know, because especially because you're actually using your imagination at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think freedom is when you can use your imagination, actually, when you're happy. You know, and you're happy to use your imagination. And yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like being happy is beautiful, you know. And I don't think if you're, you know, like not happy, I don't think you're free in life. Because why are you unhappy? Is it because of something that's happened in the past, or, you know, you got to ask yourself that question, yeah.
Yeah.
But the reason why I say you're not free when you're unhappy is because if you're unhappy, you're unhappy with yourself. Okay, and you can't be free in life if you're not happy with yourself. I really think that's, you know, true. I think you've got to be happy with yourself to be free.
Yeah.
And I think if you're not happy with yourself, for some reason, whether it's something that might have happened in the past, whether someone abused you, or because you abuse someone, even. Yeah, but people do it, right? They do something because they feel you know, and then afterwards they shouldn't have done that. You know, they realise, you know, they just sort of like lost their temper and they've done something stupid. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, I mean, I've done that in the past. Do you know what I mean? A long time ago when I was sort of at school, whatever. You know, lost my temper.
Yeah.
And done something silly.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think you're free though if you're unhappy.
No.
Right, and if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to live life, you're not free.
Right.
You know? I don't think you are anyway.
Yeah. It's true.
I've been there. You know, I've been unhappy.
Yeah. Freedom is also freedom is also a mindset.
Well, I think we've all been unhappy at times. Of course we have.
Of course, yeah.
You can't be happy. You know, you can't. I think
you're not going to be happy all the time.
Well, I think it's impossible to have happiness without sadness.
Well, you can be happy all the time, but I mean, you're not going to feel the levels of happiness are going to fluctuate on a day-to-day basis. If you see what I mean, you'll be happy every day, but how you have the level of happiness that you're feeling each day is going to be different in it. If you see what I mean, you know. It's not always going to be the same level of happiness all the time.
No, that's right. It depends. Sometimes it depends what's happening in the world, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, on the news or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. But yeah, it's about freeing your mind too. You know, freeing your mind.
Being content.
You know.
That's important, isn't it?
Yeah, very important. Content. Happiness stems from being content. You know, with who you are. You know, the life that you have, etc. You know, and I think it's very important to be. I think people sometimes, like I said before, I think people have the word content misconstrued. Yeah, because I think people have a misconception that when people say they're content, that means that they're not aspiring to have more or to be better. That is not the case. You can be content and still be ambitious.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. I think there's sometimes people have there's a slightly not negative connotation to being content, but I think it's people have it misconstrued a little bit. It's just like you can be content. Like I am very content and happy with the life that I have, but I've still got goals. I've still got aspirations. I've still got dreams. I've still got things I would like to achieve. So I am working hard and investing my time, energy, etc. into trying to achieve all these various different things. So you can be both. You can be content and be ambitious. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, without ambition, you won't want to get up.
No, you need
motivation. You've got to have the drive.
That's it.
Yeah, you've got to have that energy. You've got to. I mean, a bit. When I lost my ex-wife and that, I was depressed for a number of years, you know.
Yeah.
I lost my happiness, you know. She took it all away from me in a funny way, you know. Do you know what I mean? Took everything. Right, and I was absolutely sad by it all for numbers of years, you know.
Yeah.
It affected my life big time, you know. So I was one moment I had children jumping on me, whatever, living beautiful, happy moments and loving life, looking forward to my daughter's birthday, and next minute I lost it all. Alright, and it was really difficult for me because I went to sort of Southampton, this is 15 years ago, yeah. I went to Southampton, went to my brother and she took keys off the ring. And then I lived with my brother, kind of sort of with my family as well, sort of without seeing my children, you know, too much, whatever. And then I went on this job and I met this guy. And, you know, lucky enough, I, you know, told him my story about my house and that, and he gave me his keys to his boat in Canary Wharf.
Yeah.
You know, which was a dream come true for me, yeah. But honestly, you know, when I moved there, yeah, I lived on this really beautiful boat that looked, you know, it belonged to an Arab prince, do you know what I mean? And it was worth 1.1 million.
Yeah.
You know, so being homeless and then going into that life.
Yeah.
But I sort of had, living on this marina, had electric gates and all this, whatever.
Yeah.
And I took my kids there for a couple of holidays, you know, and I missed them so much. I was really sad, even though I lived amongst millionaires.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and they gave me happiness.
Yeah.
They gave me sort of marriage therapy, you know, and it's sort of like a dream come true in a kind of way, you know, and I met all these interesting people, you know. Some of them were millionaires, whatever. And it, you know, and I lived there rent free for a year and a quarter.
Yeah.
On this beautiful boat, you know.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I was a very lucky man to have that happen, you know. And then when he sold the boat, I got this home here.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Which but I'm not a man that's lost absolutely everything, you know. And then not having anyone shouting at him, or I found contentness and peace slowly in time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel more happier than ever now,
Right.
you know. And all my happiness has come back again.
Yeah.
All my energy. You know, my children are grown up now, do you know what I mean? And it's all over.
Yeah.
It's the past.
Yeah.
You know, but I did suffer.